The massive crystal dome of the Galactic Federation Council gleamed under 3 different suns. Inside, 12 different alien species sat around a circular table that floated in the center of the room. Each species looked completely different from the others. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few seemed to be made of pure energy. Ambassador Zethka stood up from his chair. His body was made of living crystal that changed colors when he spoke. The light inside him turned bright, red, which meant he was angry. "Council members," Zethka said, his voice sounding like breaking glass. "We have a serious problem. The humans are spreading." The other aliens turned to look at him. Most of them had never seen a human before. They only knew what their scientists told them about Earth. High Counselor Morden floated above his seat. His body was like smoke, but with tiny stars inside it. When he spoke, his voice came from everywhere at once. "Tell us more about these humans, Ambassador Zethka," Morden said. "Our records show they come from a class twin Deathworld. How dangerous can they be?" Zethka's crystal body turned darker. "That is exactly the problem, High Counselor. Everyone thinks they are not dangerous because they come from a primitive world, but they have taken over 3 star systems in just 50 of their years. They are moving fast." Captain Jake Morrison sat in a corner of the room with Dr. Lisa Webb. They were the only 2 humans in the entire building. Morrison was a big man with gray hair and scars on his hands. He used to be a soldier before he became a diplomat. Webb was smaller, with brown hair and smart eyes behind her glasses. She studied alien life for a living. "Should we say something?" Webb whispered to Morrison. "Not yet," Morrison replied quietly. "Let them talk. We need to hear what they really think about us." A snake-like alien named Counselor Sesseth spoke next. His long body was coiled around his floating chair. "I have seen the reports about human technology. Their ships are ugly and slow, their weapons are simple. They still use chemical rockets in some places. How can they be a threat to us?" Many of the aliens made sounds that meant they agreed. Some laughed, which sounded like birds singing or metal scraping. Zethka's crystal body turned bright orange. "You are all making the same mistake. You think technology is everything, but humans are different. They do not give up, ever." "What do you mean?" asked Counselor Yip, a small, furry creature with 6 eyes. "I have studied their history," Zethka said. "Their planet tries to kill them every day. Earthquakes, storms, poisonous animals, diseases that can wipe out cities. Most species would have died or left their world long ago. But humans stayed. They fought their planet and won." Dr. Webb squeezed her hands together. She wanted to stand up and explain that Earth was beautiful too, not just dangerous. But Morrison put his hand on her arm to keep her quiet. "Even if that is true," said another alien, "they are still just one species on one world. We have hundreds of worlds and millions of ships. They have maybe 50 ships total." Zethka walked to the center of the room. His crystal feet made ringing sounds on the floor. "Numbers do not matter if you do not know how to fight. When was the last time any of our worlds had a real war? 1,000 years? 2,000? We have peace because we are civilized. Humans have war because they are animals. Are you saying we should fear them?" High Counselor Morden asked. "I am saying we should stop them before they become too strong," Zethka replied. "Every year they wait, humans get stronger. They learn faster than any species we have ever seen. Their children grow up ready for anything. In 100 years, they might be strong enough to challenge us." Captain Morrison finally stood up. All the aliens turned to look at him. He was much taller than most of them, and several aliens moved back in their chairs. "Council members," Morrison said in a calm voice, "I think there has been a misunderstanding. Humans do not want to fight anyone. We just want to explore and trade. We have been trying to join the Federation for 10 years. Zethka's crystal body flashed bright white. "See? Even now they lie. They say they want peace, but they build more ships every year. They train their children to be soldiers. They spread to new worlds and bring weapons with them. We bring tools," Dr. Webb said, standing up next to Morrison. "We need them to survive on different worlds. Most planets are dangerous for humans. Because you come from a death world, Counselor Sesseth said. You think every world is dangerous because your world taught you to be paranoid. Maybe, Morrison said. But being careful has kept us alive for a long time. High Counselor Morden raised one smoky hand. The room became quiet. We have heard enough. Humans, you will leave while we discuss this. Morrison and Webb walked out of the chamber. The door closed behind them with a soft sound. They sat on a bench in the hallway. That did not go well, Webb said. No, it did not. Morrison agreed. They have already made up their minds. Inside the chamber, the debate continued for 3 hours. Some aliens thought humans might be useful. Others worried about the unknown. But Zethka kept talking about the danger humans might become. Finally, High Counselor Morden called for a vote. All in favor of giving humans 30 standard days to leave their colony worlds and return to Earth? 8 of the 12 species voted yes. All in favor of sending the peacekeeping fleet to make sure humans comply? 9 species voted yes. The decision is made, Morden announced. We will send 200 ships to human space. If they do not leave peacefully, we will make them leave. The aliens began to leave the chamber, talking quietly among themselves. Most seemed happy with their decision. They had solved a problem before it became too big. Captain Morrison and Dr. Webb were called back in to hear the official announcement. Morrison listened without showing any emotion on his face. When the aliens finished talking, he stood up. I understand, Morrison said. I will send your message to Earth immediately. Good, Zethka said. I hope your people are smart enough to avoid unnecessary violence. Morrison looked directly at the crystal alien. Ambassador Zethka, I have one question. Have you ever studied what happens when someone threatens a human's family? No, Zethka replied. Why would that matter? Morrison smiled, but it was not a happy smile. You might want to look into that before your ships reach our worlds. As Morrison and Webb left the building, Morrison activated his communication device. Priority message to Earth Command, he said. The Galactic Federation has just declared war on humanity. They are sending 200 ships our way, estimated arrival in 30 days. He paused and looked up at the alien city around them. Tell General Clark to wake up the fleet and tell him something else. These aliens have no idea what they just started. General Ryan Clark stood in the war room deep under Colorado's Rocky Mountains. The room was full of screens showing star maps, ship positions, and alien fleet movements. Officers moved quickly between computer stations, gathering information about humanity's new enemy. Clark was a tall man with white hair and tired eyes. He had fought in 3 different wars on Earth before humans ever left their home planet. Now he was facing something completely new. What do we know about their fleet? Clark asked. Admiral Kate Phillips walked over to the main display screen. She was shorter than Clark, but everyone in the room respected her tactical mind. Her brown hair was pulled back tight and she had not slept in 2 days. 200 ships, sir, Phillips said. Each one is about 3 times bigger than our largest battleship. They have energy weapons we have never seen before. Their shields can stop anything we currently have. What about our fleet? Clark asked. 45 combat ships total, Phillips replied. Most of them are converted cargo haulers with weapons bolted on. We have maybe a dozen real warships. Lieutenant Ben Torres looked up from his computer station. He was young, maybe 25 years old, with black hair and quick fingers that never stopped moving on his keyboard. General, Torres said, I think I found something interesting about their ships. Show me, Clark said. Torres put his information on the main screen. Pictures of alien ships appeared. They were beautiful, with smooth curves and bright colors. They looked more like art than weapons. Look at these designs, Torres said. Everything is perfect. Too perfect. These ships were built to look impressive, not to fight real battles. Dr. Amy Foster walked over from her research station. She was a weapons expert who had been studying alien technology since Captain Morrison sent his warning from Nexus Prime. Lieutenant Torres is right, Foster said. I have been analyzing their ship designs from our spy satellites. These aliens have never fought a real war. Look at this. She pointed to different parts of the alien ships on the screen. Their weapon systems are all automated. No human gunners. Their shields are strong, but they cannot change quickly. And look at how they fly. Always in the same patterns, like they are following a textbook. Admiral Phillips studied the images. They fly like they are in a parade, not a battle. Exactly, Foster said. These aliens come from safe worlds where everything is peaceful. They built their ships to scare enemies away, not to actually fight them. General Clark rubbed his chin. What about their ground forces? A new voice spoke from the back of the room. That might be our biggest advantage. Everyone turned to see Colonel Sam Martinez walking in. He had just returned from inspecting the outer colony defenses. Martinez was built like a tank, with scars on his arms from fighting in Earth's desert wars. I have been talking to our colonists, Martinez said. Most of them are miners, farmers, and engineers. But they all grew up on Earth. They know how to survive when things get bad. What do you mean? Clark asked. The aliens think our colonies will surrender when they see their big ships, Martinez explained. But our people do not give up easy. Every human colony has emergency bunkers, backup power systems, and hidden weapon stockpiles. We built them that way because space is dangerous. Lieutenant Torres pulled up colony maps on his screen. Sir, most of our colonies are built inside asteroids underground, or in places with harsh environments. We put them there because those locations have good mining or because the land was cheap. But now those locations make perfect fortresses. Dr. Foster nodded. The aliens probably expect our colonists to run away when they see their fleet. They do not understand that humans do not abandon their homes. Admiral Phillips walked to the tactical display. How long do we have before they reach our first colony? 28 days, Torres replied. They will hit New Haven first. It is our mining colony in the Tau Ceti system. How many people live there? Clark asked. About 50,000, Martinez said. Mostly families who have been mining asteroids for 15 years. They know every rock in that system. General Clark studied the information for several minutes. The room was quiet except for the humming of computers and the soft beeping of communication systems. Admiral Phillips, Clark finally said, how fast can we get our fleet to New Haven? 25 days if we push the engines hard, she replied. Do it. Take every ship we have. Sir, Phillips said carefully, if we lose our entire fleet at New Haven, Earth will be defenseless. Clark looked at her with hard eyes. If we do not make a stand at New Haven, those aliens will think we are weak. They will take every human colony without firing a shot. Sometimes you have to fight when the odds are bad. Lieutenant Torres spoke up again. General, I have an idea. What if we do not fight them the way they expect? Explain, Clark said. They expect big space battles with fleets lined up shooting at each other, Torres said. But what if we fight like guerrillas? Hit and run attacks, use the asteroids and space stations as cover. Make them chase us through dangerous areas where their big ships cannot go. Dr. Foster got excited. That could work. Human ships are smaller and more maneuverable. We can fly through asteroid fields and radiation zones that would damage their pretty ships. It is like fighting in a jungle, Martinez added. The enemy has better weapons, but we know the terrain. Admiral Phillips looked at the star charts again. It is risky. We would be splitting our forces and fighting on their timeline. Better than losing everything in one big battle, Clark said. Torres, work with Dr. Foster to identify every advantage we can use. Phillips, start moving our ships toward New Haven, but keep them spread out. I want the aliens to think they are facing random patrols, not our entire fleet. What about the colonists? Martinez asked. Send them everything we can spare. Weapons, ammunition, medical supplies, and send them a message from me. What message, sir? General Clark looked at the pictures of alien ships on the screen. They were still beautiful and impressive, but now he saw something else. He saw ships built by people who had never really fought for their lives. Tell them that Earth remembers its children, Clark said. Tell them we are coming, and tell them to show these aliens what happens when you threaten a human's home. As officers began carrying out orders, Dr. Foster walked over to General Clark. "Sir, do you really think we can win?" she asked quietly. Clark smiled for the first time in days. "Doctor, these aliens made one big mistake. They think we are primitive because we come from a dangerous world. They do not understand that coming from a dangerous world is exactly what makes us so hard to kill." He pointed to the alien ship designs on the screen. They built those ships to intimidate civilized enemies who would surrender rather than fight. But humans are not civilized. We are survivors. And survivors do not give up just because the enemy has bigger ships. The war room continued buzzing, with activity as humanity prepared for its first real test against the galaxy. In 28 days, the aliens would learn their first lesson about fighting Deathworlders. They had no idea what they were about to face. The New Haven mining colony looked empty from space. Commander Velsa studied the asteroid field through her ship's main viewer. Her vessel was the largest in the Federation fleet, painted in gold and blue colors that showed her high rank. "Dorothy, you certain humans live here?" Velsa asked her science officer. "Yes, Commander," the officer replied. "Our sensors show power sources and life signs throughout the asteroid belt. Approximately 50,000 humans." Velsa was from the planet Altara, where everything was beautiful and peaceful. Her people looked like tall, thin humans, but with silver skin and large purple eyes. She had never seen real combat, only training exercises where everyone followed the rules. "This place looks like a junkyard," she said. "How can intelligent beings choose to live in such an ugly location?" Her tactical officer, a creature with 4 arms and green scales, pointed to his display screen. "Commander, we are receiving a communication from the asteroid colony. Put it on screen," Velsa ordered. A human face appeared on the viewer. It was Colonel Sam Martinez, but Velsa did not know his name or rank. She only saw a scarred, tough-looking man with hard eyes. "This is New Haven Colony," Martinez said, calmly. "You are in human space without permission. Please state your business." Velsa stood up straight, trying to look impressive. "I am Commander Velsa of the Galactic Federation. By order of the High Council, you have 30 standard days to evacuate this system. If you do not comply, we will remove you by force." Martinez smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Commander, I have a message for you from the people of New Haven. We are not leaving." "You cannot be serious," Velsa said. "We have 50 ships. What do you have?" "We have something you don't," Martinez replied. "We have home." The communication ended. Velsa stared at the blank screen, confused by the human's response. "Commander," her weapons officer said. "Should we begin the attack?" "No," Velsa said. "First we show them our power. Fire 1 warning shot at the largest asteroid. Make it spectacular, but do not hit anything important." The Federation ship's main energy weapon charged up with a bright blue glow. The beam struck an empty asteroid and turned it into glowing dust. The explosion lit up the entire asteroid field. Velsa waited for the humans to contact her and surrender. Instead, her sensor showed something unexpected. "Commander," the science officer said with worry in his voice. "The humans are disappearing." "What do you mean, disappearing?" "Their life signs are moving deeper into the asteroids. They are going into the mining tunnels." Velsa had never heard of humans hiding in tunnels. On her world, when someone showed superior force, the weaker side surrendered politely. This was how civilized beings solved problems. "Send a ground team," she ordered. 200 soldiers, bring the humans out and make them see reason." Deep inside the asteroid colony, Colonel Martinez watched the alien ships on his screens. He was in the main command center, carved out of solid rock a mile underground. With him were Engineer Pete Johnson and Sergeant Nina Rodriguez. Johnson was a big man with oil-stained hands and a creative mind. He had spent 15 years turning raw asteroids into livable spaces. Rodriguez was smaller but tougher, a former Earth soldier who had volunteered to help defend the colonies. "How long until their troops land?" Martinez asked. 10 minutes, Rodriguez replied. "They are coming in slow, fancy landing craft." flying in perfect formation. Johnson laughed. Perfect formation through an asteroid field? These aliens really do not know what they are doing. What is our status? Martinez asked. All civilians are in the deep shelters, Rodriguez said. Every tunnel entrance is rigged with Pete's special surprises. Mining equipment is in position. Emergency power is active. Martinez nodded. Remember, we are not trying to win a fair fight. We are trying to make them understand that taking our home will cost more than they want to pay. The Federation soldiers landed at 3 different spots on the main asteroid. They wore beautiful armor that gleamed like mirrors and carried energy, weapons that hummed with power. Their leader was Captain Thexney, a being that looked like a walking tree with crystal bark. Spread out and find the humans, Thexney ordered. Remember, we are here to help them understand their mistake. Use minimum force. The soldiers moved toward what looked like the main entrance to the colony. Everything seemed quiet and empty. The first trap activated when 12 soldiers walked over a section of tunnel floor. Engineer Johnson had weakened the metal supports and filled the space below with mining acid. The floor collapsed, and the soldiers fell into a pool of liquid that ate through their pretty armor in seconds. Ambush! Captain Thexney shouted. Take defensive positions. But there was nowhere to hide. The tunnels were narrow and dark, lit only by emergency lights that flickered on and off. The Federation soldiers were used to fighting in open spaces, with good lighting and clear sightlines. Sergeant Rodriguez and her team appeared from hidden side tunnels. They wore simple Earth military gear that looked ugly compared to alien armor, but it was designed for real fighting, not for looking impressive. The humans used weapons that fired solid metal bullets instead of energy beams. The bullets bounced off tunnel walls and ricocheted in directions the aliens could not predict. The Federation soldiers found their beautiful armor was not as protective as they had believed. Fall back to the landing ships, Thexney ordered, but Johnson had prepared for that too. As the alien soldiers retreated, they triggered more traps. Some tunnels collapsed completely, others filled with poisonous gas from the mining operations. A few opened into vacuum, sucking soldiers out into space. The aliens who made it back to their landing craft found another surprise. Rodriguez had positioned mining lasers to target the landing zone. The powerful beams, designed to cut through solid rock, sliced through alien ship hulls like paper. Commander Velsa watched in shock as her ground assault fell apart. She had lost 60 soldiers and 3 landing craft in less than an hour. The humans had not fought fair. They had used tricks and traps and turned their ugly industrial equipment into weapons. Commander, her tactical officer said, the humans are sending another message. Colonel Martinez appeared on screen again. This time he was standing in a tunnel surrounded by mining equipment and armed colonists. Commander Velsa, Martinez said, you just learned lesson number 1 about fighting humans. We do not play by your rules, we play to win. You use dishonorable tactics, Velsa said, her voice shaking with anger and confusion. We used effective tactics, Martinez replied. There is a difference. Now you have a choice. You can leave our system or you can send more soldiers into our tunnels. But understand something. Every person you send down here might not come back up. Velsa ended the communication and stared at the asteroid field. She had come here expecting an easy victory against primitive humans. Instead, she had lost soldiers to people who fought like wild animals. Commander, her science officer said quietly, perhaps we should call for reinforcements. No, Velsa said. We cannot let these humans think they have won. Prepare the main fleet for orbital bombardment. If they want to hide in their tunnels, we will collapse all the tunnels. But as her ships moved into attack position, new contacts appeared on her sensors. Human ships, small and fast, came flying out from behind asteroids where they had been hiding. The ships looked like converted mining vessels with weapons welded onto their hulls. They were ugly and crude compared to Federation vessels, but they moved through the asteroid field like they belonged there, dodging between rocks and using the radiation from the local star to mask their approach. Incoming missiles, the tactical officer shouted. The human weapons were not advanced energy beams. They were simple explosive rockets, the kind of weapons civilized species had stopped using centuries ago. But the rockets flew in patterns the Federation computers could not predict, and some of them got through the alien shields. Commander Velsa felt her beautiful ship shake as human weapons struck the hull. Warning lights flashed and alien crew members ran to emergency stations. "Damage report," she ordered. "Minor hull breaches on decks 4 and 7, came the reply. "No critical systems damaged." But Velsa was not thinking about the damage. She was thinking about what the attack meant. The humans were not afraid of her superior technology. They were fighting back with everything they had, using whatever weapons they could find. "All ships retreat to safe distance," she ordered. "We need to reconsider our approach." As the Federation fleet pulled back, Martinez's voice came over the communication system one more time. "Commander Velsa, you can tell your High Council something for me. You picked a fight with the wrong species. Humans do not surrender. We adapt, and we remember everyone who threatens our families." The transmission ended, leaving Commander Velsa staring at the asteroid field where 50,000 humans continued to live and work, completely unimpressed by the mighty Galactic Federation. For the first time in her life, Velsa began to understand what fear felt like. High Counselor Morden floated in his private chamber on Nexus Prime, watching reports from the New Haven battle. His smoky body flickered with worry as he read the casualty numbers. The Federation had lost over 300 soldiers and 8 ships in what should have been a simple evacuation. "This cannot be correct," Morden said to his aide. "How can primitive humans defeat our advanced forces?" "The reports are verified, High Counselor," the aide replied. "Commander Velsa requests immediate reinforcements. She says the humans fight unlike any species we have encountered." Morden activated the main communication system. Within minutes, he was speaking to military commanders across the Federation's core worlds. "We are committing the main battle fleet," Morden announced. 150 ships, enough firepower to destroy entire planets. These humans will learn to respect civilized authority. 3 days later, Captain Tony Mitchell crouched in the cargo hold of a stolen Federation supply ship. He was leading a team of 12 human Special Forces soldiers through enemy territory. Mitchell was a thin man with quick eyes and steady hands, trained in Earth's harshest environments. His mission was simple but dangerous: attack Federation supply lines and make their ships afraid to travel alone. "Remember," Mitchell whispered to his team, "we are not trying to win big battles. We are trying to make them jump at shadows. Every ship that gets attacked means 10 more ships that will be afraid to do their jobs." The Federation supply convoy ahead of them looked impressive. 5 large ships carrying fuel, food, and ammunition to the main fleet. They were protected by 2 escort vessels with powerful weapons, but the convoy was traveling through the Kepler system, where radiation from a dying star made sensors work poorly. The Federation ships stayed close together for protection, which was exactly what Mitchell wanted. "Target the fuel ship in the center," Mitchell ordered. "Hit and run. We are gone before they know what happened." The human attack ship was tiny compared to the Federation vessels. It looked like a mining pod with engines and weapons welded on. But it was designed by Chief Engineer Mike Davis, who understood that survival was more important than beauty. Davis had built human ships to fight in conditions that would kill other species. They could operate in high radiation, extreme temperatures, and near black holes. Most importantly, they could take damage and keep fighting. The human ship accelerated toward the convoy at maximum speed. Federation sensors finally detected it when the ship was only 30 seconds away. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself," came the radio message from the convoy leader. Mitchell's reply was a spread of missiles aimed at the fuel ship's storage tanks. The Federation crew tried to activate their shields, but radiation from the local star interfered with their systems. The fuel ship exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from 3 light minutes away. The explosion damaged 2 other supply ships and sent debris flying into the escort vessels. Before the Federation ships could respond, Mitchell's team was already accelerating away, using the explosion's radiation to hide their escape route. "Convoy leader to all ships," came a panicked voice over the radio. "We are under attack by unknown human forces, requesting immediate assistance." But help was far away, and Mitchell's team had already vanished into the radiation storms that filled the system. On Earth, Dr. Helen Carter worked in a secure laboratory deep underground. She was a small woman with gray hair and careful hands, studying samples of alien biology that had been recovered from New Haven. Carter was developing weapons that used Earth's most dangerous organisms, but she was also scared of what she was creating. "General Clark," she said over the communication system, "I can create biological weapons that will stop the alien invasion. But once I do this, there is no going back. Other species will fear us forever." Clark's voice came back immediately. "Doctor, what choice do we have? They declared war on us. They are trying to destroy our colonies." Carter looked at the alien tissue samples under her microscope. The Federation species had never been exposed to Earth's bacteria and viruses. Their immune systems would have no defense. "I can make a weapon that will make their soldiers too sick to fight," she said. "It will not kill them, but they will wish they had never left their safe worlds." "Do it," Clark ordered. Meanwhile, in the Jupiter system, Admiral Kate Phillips prepared for the largest space battle in human history. The Federation's main fleet of 150 ships was approaching, and Phillips had only 35 human vessels to stop them. But Phillips had chosen the battlefield carefully. The battle would happen near Jupiter's radiation-soaked moon, Europa. The gas giant's massive gravity and radiation fields would affect both fleets. But humans had learned to fight in such conditions while the aliens had not. "All ships, this is Admiral Phillips," she broadcast to the human fleet. "Remember what we learned from New Haven. The enemy has better technology, but we have better understanding of how to use dangerous environments as weapons." Commander Velsa led the Federation fleet toward Jupiter. She had been given strict orders to crush human resistance completely. The defeat at New Haven had embarrassed the entire Federation, and High Counselor Mordun wanted a decisive victory. "Maintain formation," Velsa ordered her ships. "We will demonstrate proper military tactics to these barbaric humans." The Federation fleet approached Jupiter in perfect formation, their ships arranged in neat geometric patterns that looked impressive and showed their superior discipline. Admiral Phillips watched them come and smiled grimly. "All ships execute scatter pattern Delta. Use Jupiter's gravity to accelerate toward the enemy. Stay close to the radiation belt." The human ships broke apart and flew in seemingly random directions. To Federation observers, it looked like panic and confusion. But Phillips was using tactics learned from studying Earth's fighter aircraft and naval vessels. The battle began when both fleets were still an hour apart. Federation ships fired their advanced energy weapons in coordinated volleys, expecting to destroy human ships at long range. But the human vessels were flying through Jupiter's radiation belt, where the energy beams scattered and lost power. Most of the alien shots missed completely. The human ships returned fire with simple kinetic weapons, metal slugs fired at incredible speed using magnetic accelerators. The weapons were primitive by Federation standards, but they worked perfectly in high radiation environments. "Impossible," Velsa muttered as she watched human projectiles punch through Federation shields. "How can such crude weapons be effective?" Her science officer looked up from his instruments with fear in his eyes. "Commander, the humans are using Jupiter's gravity to accelerate their projectiles. The metal slugs are hitting us with more force than our computers calculated." As the battle continued, Federation ships began to malfunction. Their advanced electronics could not handle Jupiter's radiation as well as the simpler human systems. Several alien vessels lost power completely and drifted helplessly through space. The human ships, designed to operate in Earth's harsh environment, functioned perfectly in conditions that crippled their enemies. Captain Tony Mitchell's voice came over the human communication network. "All ships, the Federation supply fleet in the outer system has been neutralized. Enemy reinforcements will be delayed." Admiral Phillips pressed her advantage. "All fighters, attack pattern Gamma. Target their command ships while their sensors are blinded by radiation." Human fighter craft, barely larger than atmospheric aircraft, swarmed through the Federation fleet like angry wasps. They were too small for the aliens' main weapons to target effectively, but their simple projectile weapons could damage critical systems on the huge enemy ships. Commander Velsa watched in horror as her beautiful fleet fell apart under attack from ships that looked like flying junk. Her crew members, evolved from peaceful worlds, began to panic as their advanced technology failed in Jupiter's hostile environment. "All ships, retreat to safe distance," she finally ordered. "Regroup, beyond the radiation belt." But as the Federation ships tried to withdraw, they discovered another problem. Human ships could accelerate much faster in Jupiter's gravity well. The aliens' larger, heavier vessels could not escape the smaller human craft that chased them, like hunting wolves. By the time the battle ended, the Federation had lost 42 ships while the humans lost only 8. But every human ship that was destroyed fought until the very end, their crews refusing to surrender even when their vessels were crippled. High Counselor Morden received the battle reports in his private chamber. For the first time in his long life, he felt something his species had almost forgotten: genuine fear. "How many ships do we have left?" he asked his aide. 98 functional vessels, High Counselor. The humans appear to have about 30 ships remaining." Morden studied the tactical reports. The numbers still favored the Federation, but the trend was clear. Every battle cost them more ships than they could afford to lose, while the humans seemed to grow stronger with each fight. "Sir," the aide said quietly, "some of our member species are asking if we should consider peace negotiations." Morden's smoky form flickered with anger. "Peace? We are the Galactic Federation. We do not negotiate with primitive species from Deathworlds." But even as he said the words, Morden knew that something fundamental had changed. The hum. President Emma Stone stood on the observation deck of Luna Station, looking down at Earth through the reinforced windows. The blue and white planet looked peaceful from space, but Stone knew that humanity's homeworld was preparing for the largest battle in its history. Stone was a middle-aged woman with short blonde hair and calm eyes that had seen too much. She had been elected to lead Earth during peacetime, but now she faced a war that could destroy everything humans had built among the stars. "Madam President," her aide said, walking up behind her, "Admiral Sullivan is ready to brief you on the defense preparations." Stone nodded and walked to the command center. Admiral Jack Sullivan was waiting with a holographic display showing the solar system. He was an older man with a gray beard and hands that shook slightly from too many years in space. "What is our situation, Admiral?" Stone asked. "The Federation's remaining fleet is heading directly for Earth," Sullivan replied. 90 ships, all of their most powerful vessels. They will arrive in 6 hours. "How many ships do we have to stop them?" 60 combat vessels, plus all the orbital defense platforms around Earth and Luna. We also have about 200 civilian ships that volunteered to help. Stone looked at the display showing Federation ship positions. Even after all their losses, the alien fleet still looked formidable. "Do we have any chance of winning?" she asked quietly. Sullivan smiled grimly. "Madam President, we are fighting for our home. That makes all the difference." High Counselor Morden stood on the bridge of the Federation flagship, watching Earth grow larger on the viewing screen. The blue planet looked small and insignificant compared to the great worlds of the Federation core systems. "This ends today," Morden said to his fleet commanders. "We will destroy their orbital installations and force a complete surrender. The galaxy must see that the Federation cannot be challenged by primitive species." Ambassador Zethka stood beside him, his crystal body dim with worry. The war he had urged the Council to start had cost thousands of Federation lives and dozens of ships. "High Counselor," Zethka said, "perhaps we should offer the humans one final chance to surrender. They have shown they can fight, but surely they understand they cannot win." "No," Morden replied firmly. "We tried diplomacy. They chose violence. Now they will learn the price of defying civilized authority." Commander Lisa Gray sat in her fighter cockpit, waiting in the shadow of Earth's moon. She was 28 years old with red hair and the quick reflexes of someone born in space. Around her, 300 other human pilots prepared for the battle of their lives. "All squadrons, this is Strike Command," came Admiral Sullivan's voice over the radio. "The Federation fleet will be in weapons range in 30 minutes. Remember your training and remember what you are fighting for." Gray looked through her cockpit window at Earth hanging in space below. She had been born on that planet, in a small town in Kansas where her grandmother still lived. The thought of alien ships attacking her home filled her with cold anger. "Squadron leaders, Report status, Gray said into her radio. Red Squadron ready, came the first reply. Blue Squadron ready. Gold Squadron ready. One by one, all 12 squadrons reported they were prepared for battle. The human fighters were small and fast, built for atmospheric flight but modified with extra engines and life support for space combat. The Federation fleet approached Earth in perfect formation, their ships arranged in precise geometric patterns that demonstrated their superior technology and discipline. Each vessel was 3 times larger than the biggest human ship, and their weapons could destroy cities. Begin the attack, Mordoon ordered. Target their orbital defense platforms first, then move to the planet's surface. The alien ships opened fire with energy beams that lit up space like lightning. Earth's orbital platforms returned fire with missile batteries and magnetic cannons, filling the space around the planet with explosions and debris. Admiral Sullivan watched the battle from his command ship, using Earth's gravity and magnetic field to hide his main fleet behind the planet. All ships, execute Operation Homecoming, Sullivan ordered. The human fleet emerged from behind Earth like a swarm of angry bees. Instead of maintaining formation, they scattered in all directions, using tactics learned from fighting an asteroid, fields and radiation zones. Commander Velsa, now serving under Morden's direct command, watched in confusion as human ships seemed to fly in random patterns around the Federation fleet. What are they doing? She asked her tactical officer. This is not proper military strategy. Unknown, Commander, the officer replied. Their movements appear chaotic, but they are avoiding our weapons very effectively. The human ships were using Earth's atmosphere as a shield, diving into the upper layers where Federation energy weapons lost power, then emerging to attack from unexpected angles. Commander Gray led her fighter squadron through a gap in the alien formation, targeting the Federation flagship's weapon systems with precision strikes. Remember, Gray told her pilots, we are not trying to destroy their ships. We are trying to make them afraid to stay here. The fighters flew through the Federation fleet like Earth's predatory birds, striking vital systems and disappearing before the aliens could respond. Their weapons were simple projectile cannons, but they were piloted by humans who had learned to fly in Earth's dangerous atmosphere. President Stone watched the battle from Luna Station, her hands clenched as she saw human ships destroyed by alien fire. But for every human vessel lost, the crew fought until the very end, often ramming their damaged ships into Federation vessels rather than surrender. Madam President, her communication officer said, we are receiving a message from the Federation flagship. Put it through, Stone ordered. High Counselor Morden's face appeared on the screen. His smoky features flickered with frustration and anger. Human leader, Morden said, your resistance is pointless. We still have more ships than you. Surrender, now, and we will allow your species to exist under Federation control. Stone looked directly at the alien commander. High Counselor Mordoon, I have a counteroffer for you. You are in no position to make demands, Mordoon replied. Look around you, Stone said calmly. You came here with 200 ships. How many do you have left? Morden's expression changed as he realized what she meant. The Federation had started the war with overwhelming superiority, but months of fighting humans had cost them more than half their fleet. Your species is too dangerous to be allowed freedom, Morden said. You fight like animals. You use dishonorable tactics. You refuse to surrender when defeat is obvious. Stone smiled, but it was not a friendly expression. You are right about one thing, High Counselor. We do not surrender. We adapt. We survive. And we remember everyone who threatens our families. She leaned forward in her chair. You made one critical mistake when you declared war on us. You assumed that because we come from a dangerous world, we must be primitive. But surviving on a dangerous world does not make you weak. It makes you very, very strong. Around Earth, the battle continued to rage. Human fighters and ships fought with desperate creativity, using every advantage their harsh homeworld had taught them. They flew through radiation clouds that would kill other species. They used gravity wells and magnetic fields as weapons. They fought in conditions that made Federation technology malfunction. Ambassador Zethka watched his beautiful fleet falling apart under human attacks. Ships that had never seen real combat were being destroyed by vessels that looked like flying scrap metal. "High Counselor," Zethka said urgently, "we must retreat. We cannot win this battle." "Retreat?" Morden said in shock. "The Federation does not retreat from primitive species." "They are not primitive," Zethka replied quietly. "We were wrong. They are exactly what we should have expected from a species that survived a death world. They are the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy." As if to prove his point, Commander Gray's fighter squadron attacked the Federation flagship directly. The small human ships dove through the alien vessel's defensive fire, striking critical systems with surgical precision. Alarms began sounding throughout the flagship as human weapons damaged the main power systems. Emergency lights flickered as the great ship's technology began to fail. "All ships, retreat to minimum safe distance," Morden finally ordered. "Regroup and prepare for orbital bombardment." But as the Federation ships tried to withdraw, they discovered that human vessels could outmaneuver them in Earth's gravity well. The alien fleet found itself trapped between Earth's gravity and human ships that fought like they had nothing to lose. President Stone's voice came over all communication channels, broadcasting to both human and alien ships. "High Counselor Morden, you can still end this war. Take your remaining ships and leave our space, never return. Tell the galaxy that humans want peace, but we will fight anyone who threatens our homes." Morden looked around his damaged flagship. Sparks flew from broken systems and his crew worked frantically to keep the ship functional. Through the viewing ports, he could see human fighters still attacking Federation vessels with relentless determination. "If we leave now," Morden said slowly, "what guarantee do we have that humans will not attack Federation worlds?" "You have our word," Stone replied. "But understand something clearly. If you ever threaten human colonies again, we will not wait to fear us."